I would like to say something about the Rebbe. I would say something about the Rebbe. The reason why, in my opinion, the Rebbe remains relevant, even is very relevant. I shouldn't say remains, is very relevant even to us non-Hasidim. Was brought home to me this week by an email, which was sent around to the Monsey Shul's list, which is a list of Monsey residents who anybody can send any email they want to, basically. So one of the emails was sent out was a Chabad email, and in honor of the yard site. And in this email, it spoke about the Rebbe and Viktor Frankl. It was written by some person who was or is the Shaliach who runs the Chabad house in Vienna. And Vienna is where Viktor Frankl lived. Viktor Frankl was a well-known and very, very, in my opinion, important Austrian Jewish psychoanalyst, psychologist, psychiatrist, who founded the school of thought in psychology called logotherapy. Logotherapy hypothesizes that primarily people are unhappy because they don't know what happiness is, and that you cannot become happy by striving for happiness, and that happiness is only a byproduct of meaning in life. And most people do not have sufficient meaning in life, or they might have it, but they don't recognize that their life is meaningful. And therefore, since they don't see sufficient meaning in their lives, or either because there isn't, or because they don't recognize it, that's why they are unhappy, depressed, and so on and so forth. And this is very similar to many, many sources, of course, which we have, such as, the Pias Hetzner, who says that anytime a Jew is unhappy, whether he realizes it or not, it's because of his shortcoming in Avodas Hashem. It's not because of whatever he perceives to be it, whether it's money or health or whatever the case may be. It's really because there's something wrong in his relationship with Hashem. Just that he doesn't realize it, and he's not used to thinking in those terms, so he attributes it to different issues. And we have, of course, the pasuk which tells us that we say in davening in Psukei de Zimra, Yismach le mevakshe Hashem. Happy is the heart of those who quest God. And the Rebbe Rabbeinu Pashischa has a very basic question, which is, when are you happy? When you're looking for your wallet, or when you found your wallet? When you found your wallet. So it should say, Yismach le motzei Hashem, those who find Hashem. Why mevakshe Hashem? So he says that the quest to be mevakesh Hashem, which is an ongoing quest, which is a never-ending quest, is what makes life meaningful. And that's what gives you simcha. The byproduct of this meaningful quest is simcha, which is again very similar to Viktor Frankl's Yesod. And Viktor Frankl, even though he was his first wife was killed in the Holocaust, was Jewish, his second wife was Catholic, and his kids are not Jewish, but he was a very devoutly religious person.
What does that mean, devoutly religious?
He believed in God. He didn't believe in organized religion. He believed in God. So,
devoutly religious.
Yeah, it's the difference between religious and observant. He was religious in the sense that he had a religious personality which believed in a God and a master plan and a concept of good in the world, which ultimately brings meaning to life.
So how can we put the two together and come up with the Torah is the way of life?
How come many people don't come out with that?
Many people are not religious. They just drop everything all together. They take the God picture to give God in the picture and still have this false sense of belief.
Unless you meet up with a person who has a profound impact upon you, or a book which has a profound impact upon you, it's unlikely that a person who is raised particularly in a certain way with certain doctrines is going to become an observant Jew. So
he didn't believe in those beliefs?
No.
The wife?
Maybe I think his wife probably did, but not him. So according to this story, which was on this email, which I don't believe, that the Rebbe or somebody on behalf of the Rebbe gave him tefillin, which he put on every day, Viktor Frankl.
Why don't you do that, sir?
What?
Why don't you do that, sir?
He doesn't seem like the type to have, like a Morano in secret put on tefillin every day for 30, 40 years and nobody, was not well known, not well publicized.
Since the university days?
No, so they didn't know each other at all. That's the point I'm about to make. The point I'm about to make is that at one point, now according to the way the story goes on the Monsey Shul's email, at one point the Viktor Frankl had a personal issue, crisis. He felt he had to leave Vienna. And the Rebbe had just sent him a message, ostensibly not knowing about this issue, saying, stay strong, remain where you are, an unsolicited message, and everything will work out.
Why did he contact the Rebbe first?
No. I'm getting to this. Now, the miracle, which is highlighted in the story, which is that the Rebbe knew that Viktor Frankl was undergoing a crisis, and the Rebbe therefore sent him a message of chizuk. That is not impressive to me. Either it's true or it's not true, but that's not what impresses me. Because, okay, so the Rebbe, maybe he had Ruach HaKodesh, maybe he was a prescient individual, maybe he had ESP, but then of itself, we find many, many Gedolei Torah upon whom which stories are told. Very often the stories are interchangeable between one great Rebbe and another great Rebbe, one Gadol, another Gadol.
I heard one that saw money on Shabbos and said, Shabbos.
Yeah, right. So that story is interchangeable too. So that's not what impresses me and what underlines the Rebbe's significance. What underlines the Rebbe's significance is that he knew there was a Viktor Frankl, and he knew that he wanted to contact Viktor Frankl, and he knew that he was concerned with Viktor Frankl's work. You don't see many Hasidic Rebbes who have ever heard of Viktor Frankl, who ever concern themselves with Viktor Frankl's writings or work, and they are very profound and very moving, and certainly who would then contact Viktor Frankl personally in some way, shape, or form. So the Rebbe, in this sense, to us who are not Hasidim and who have perhaps objections to what Chabad has become, nevertheless is an important figure because of his breadth and his openness to things which we don't normally perceive as being within the realm of, or the sphere of interest of, a Rebbe. I can't tell you how much that was significant to me, the fact that the Rebbe felt this drive to actually connect to Viktor Frankl. So there is, especially in today's day and age, when there is, it's very rare that you find people giving credibility to, well, I shouldn't say that, let me put it this way. It's very rare where a Rebbe or a Rav or a Rosh Yeshiva will actually incorporate Chachma, which is from beyond the Torah, in their approach. They might send you to, if you have an issue, to a psychologist or a psychiatrist. That happens all the time. But they themselves do not incorporate necessarily that in their approach because they haven't studied it, or they don't care to study it, or they hold it's also to study it, whatever the case may be. But we know that in previous generations, it was not like that. Certainly the Rambam based much of his, the springboard for much of his writing was secular wisdom, and that's true about many of the Rishonim. Wait, I'm not finished. Wait! So Rav Dessler, for example, is supposed to have taken a lot of his ideas of interpersonal relationship from Dale Carnegie. And no, he doesn't quote him by name, but we know back in the 19th century there was this fellow who wrote the Sefer Cheshbon HaNefesh, which is a Musar Sefer, which is based on Benjamin Franklin, because Benjamin Franklin had this tochnit, this plan for ethical growth and moral grove. And we saw Salanter.
Why can't he even chadish it on his own? Why must it be that he copied it?
He says he copied it.
Oh, he did?
He doesn't say from Benjamin Franklin. It says from Chachmei Umos, so some place. He doesn't. Yeah. So so this is something which I think the Lubavitcher Rebbe had this breadth and this profound concern with all matters which could enhance the human condition to a very great extent, and probably a larger extent than any of his contemporaries. Now again, when you say something like that, you have to say the caveat that there are certain idiosyncrasies which Chabad had or Chabad developed, which are certainly off-putting to non-Lubavitchers. But,
For example,
what?
what are the idiosyncrasies? What are they?
Oh, there are lots of them.
Can you give example?
Well, do you want to...
Chabad Day. No.
What?
Today's a Chabad Day.
Yeah, they can't have lox with cream cheese.
They can't? They're like supporting this? Why?
Because they hold of dog b'cholov. They don't eat fish and milk together.
Yeah, but why is that?
Because of the typo in the Beis Yosef.
Oh, they hold of the typo.
Yes.
Typo.
It's a typo in, we assume it's a typo
They must hold this only...
in the Beis Yosef, where it says that you're not allowed to eat fish with milk. Rabbi Yosef Karo, the author of the Shulchan Aruch, in another one of his works. So it says you're not allowed to eat fish with milk. So they don't eat fish with milk.
If he doesn't bring down his halacha, why do we still worried about it?
What?
It's on the Shulchan Aruch, so the fact that he doesn't bring down his halacha...
I don't know. Probably the Shulchan Aruch Harav. I don't know. I never researched it.
Even it's important. Why is that something masculine? It's only a hava mina.
But that's a chumah. But what's something significant? That's kind of stupid chumah. But what's something?
It's not. It's stupid. What else do you want? The Rebbe as Moshiach thing?
I believe it's stupid because they follow what the Ram says in Shemona Parking. He said that chumah, they don't add anything. You shouldn't add chumah to what it already actually commanded you.
Yeah, but that's not so simple. That's an oversimplification of the issue, because obviously also.
Even the fasting, all the things.
The Beis Yosef holds its. If you hold its halacha, so it's not a chumrah. If you don't have halacha, it's not even a chumrah. A chumrah is a gradation in halacha.
No, but these halacha have no basis in the Talmud.
Yes, but maybe the Beis Yosef himself. That's the whole point. That's why they.
So he himself. I mean, he can't invent halachas himself. He can just believe. He can just believe that he's
in any event, I don't want to get into arguments about it because it's off topic. What?
Why was he such a big drinker?
Who?
Red.
A big drinker?
Yeah. Like whenever he would give his.
He didn't drink.
He didn't drink?
No, the Hasidim drank.
I've seen him in videos taking shots before, like he delivered some kind of prophetic.
I think those are wine, not vodka.
Little shot glasses.
Little shot glasses. Yeah, but that doesn't matter. They had wine.
It's just a Hasidic thing. They have parties, they drink and go over Torah.
Yeah, but there's this, when the Rebbe was alive, there was this thing called kosher bracha where people extended a cup of chaim to him, and that was wine. I don't know what he was drinking.
This video I saw, he was about to give some kind of deliberation that like he had to get into Ruach HaKodesh mode. He was like taking shot after shot, and everyone was making and chanting, and then all of a sudden he was like, okay, quieting down. He went.
It's interesting. I don't think anybody's ever. There's no well-known charge of such a sort against the Rebbe, so I can't respond because I never heard of it before.
What?
So, but Lubavitchers, as a rule, are very heavy drinkers.
Why is that?
Well, I think the Russians have a high degree of tolerance for alcohol, far more than any other human. What's the word for it? Race. What?
In my family, I remember when I was 6 years old, they gave me vodka.
Right. So they.
Irish wouldn't take it.
So it's something like that. So the original Lubavitchers came primarily from Russia and areas where heavy drinking was the norm. And it seems that there's some sort of spiritual gene which you pick up if you join Chabad, which allows you to drink much, much more vodka than the average person and still survive. I don't know exactly how it comes about, but
He has a 5-drink limit.
what?
He has a limit on drinking.
Who?
Chabad, the Rebbe gave all his chassidim a limit on how much they could drink. I think it's like 4 drinks or 5 drinks in a night.
Oh, the cups.
Yeah, my Chabad, they wouldn't let you drink. They told you to drink.
Yeah, somehow they managed to get very mellow in any event.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That works.
maybe they've concentrated vodka.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works. What?
Rastafarians get pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are you really are you thinking about the thing to isolate them or
Their focus on bringing Mashiach. That was the Rebbe's major drive, which kind of was not accepted by everybody else, because regardless of the issue which came up later, whether he believed he was Mashiach, didn't believe he was Mashiach, the Rebbe very early on, not very early on, 1970s I think was the time when he started pushing that people should demand Mashiach, and people should do mitzvahs to bring Mashiach, and people should go out and do all the activities which he asked in order to bring Mashiach, and everything became focused on bringing Mashiach. And that was a revolutionary thing, because we're told in many, many places that we're not supposed to serve Hashem in order to bring Mashiach. We're supposed to serve Hashem in order to serve Hashem. We're supposed to serve Hashem out of love, out of awe, and out of joy in the moment, not necessarily in order to bring about Mashiach. We also have a separate issue, which is Tzipisa Yeshua, to look forward, to anticipate, to want to have the Geula, which is a component, but not the overarching thing. So what the Rebbe did, and it's not as if there's no source for this. Reb Tzadok speaks about, he says at the end of days, one is going to have to demand Mashiach, you don't have to use chutzpah to demand Mashiach, but the Rebbe basically came to the conclusion, this is the end of days. And that conclusion led him to a certain approach, which was different than what we are used to in the past, and is difficult for us to accept, and is an idiosyncratic approach. Yeah.
Well, can't you serve Hashem for both reasons? Because you love Hashem, but also because you want Mashiach. For example, let's say you have 2 ways of serving Hashem. One is to encourage other people to do mitzvot, and the other is just sit in the basement. Why would it be wrong to start a clubhouse or not?
I'm not sure I understand the question. What's
wrong? You can have multiple motivations for doing things, I think, including serving Hashem, and different ways of serving Hashem. And often we serve Hashem with intermediate goals in mind. So, for example, having peace in your house.
You just said a very important thing. Very important.
What?
You use a very important word. On the contrary, I agree with you. One serves Hashem with immediate goals, and there should not be focused on the long-range goal.
No, I don't mean time, though. I mean this. For example, when you say that, one way of serving Hashem is to encourage peace in your house.
Okay.
Okay. So you do something in this world that makes it better. That is serving Hashem.
Right.
And wouldn't you say that bringing Mashiach is a way of making the world better?
Bringing Mashiach is an escape. It's a very good escape. I would love to have this escape.
Make the world better?
We're supposed to make the world better in the conditions we find it, not try and bring Mashiach in order to have that happen. In other words, in the here and now, in real time, you're supposed to make a difference in your life and other people's lives. And if your focus is bringing Mashiach, then in essence, what you're saying on a subconscious level is that without Mashiach, we're not really going to be able to accomplish.
It's like Christianity.
No, you're saying.
What's up to Christianity? It's nothing to do with Christianity.
No, it's like we're hopeless unless we have.
No, Mashiach is going to be very inspiring. It's nothing to do with Christianity.
You're saying there's no point
No,
to have Mashiach or but it's just a condition.
No, you got
we want Tikkun Olam. Mashiach is part of that.
No, Mashiach is after we get to Tikkun Olam.
You perfect the world in any case.
Yeah.
How do you perfect the world?
Has to happen, or is that ideal?
It's the ideal. The ideal is not to forget about Mashiach.
Well, not the ideal. I mean, it's the way things are going to happen.
But so you're obviously a pessimist.
I don't know.
I'm not saying I'm not a pessimist. I might be a pessimist too.
Okay.
But that doesn't justify you being a pessimist.
I'm not saying I'm not a pessimist or an optimist. This matter. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, so you
I think things are pretty bad in the world right now.
right. But the question is, and so the alternative is to say either, okay, let me do what I can, where I can, whatever difference I can make, or to say, I have to focus on doing everything on bringing Mashiach.
What are they doing to try to bring Mashiach? They're starting to Chabad houses that bring.
No, Chabad houses, they started before the Mashiach. It's nothing to do with Mashiach.
So what are they trying to do to bring Mashiach?
Chabad houses for Kiruv.
What actions do they take to try and bring Mashiach?
They do their mitzvah. When they do mitzvahs, when they ask you to do mitzvahs, they do it, they focus very often. I'm not saying everybody at all times. Focus very often on doing the mitzvah in order to bring Mashiach. You do a mitzvah as an act of love for Hashem, which brings kedusha to the world now. That's the more normative approach. He asked me what idiosyncrasies. I'm not saying what they're doing is awesome.
And this is the main thing that alienates other people.
Alienate other people, yeah, because it eventually it led to a very high focus on Mashiach, overriding all other concerns of Klal Yisrael. Now, what this means is that, and this is seeped in from Lubavitch, although people will not like to admit this probably, this is seeped in from Lubavitch to other streams of Judaism as well. And basically what it does is it absolves us of the need to fix immediate problems. Because anyway we can't fix them. Anyway we need Mashiach. So therefore the problems are problems. What are we supposed to do? Bring Mashiach. Maybe then Mashiach will solve it. And so you end up not tackling the problems.
What's the problem we're not tackling in the Orthodox world? Because we're staying away from Mashiach?
Many problems are not tackling. Dishonesty in business, which is pervasive among certain Orthodox Jews.
Certain mean like certain strange ones?
No, Lashon Hara, we're good at Lashon Hara.
We're good.
Yeah, because we don't mind, we tackle Lashon Hara because it usually doesn't cost any money.
What?
It doesn't cost any money to tackle Lashon Hara.
That doesn't cost what?
Money. There's no cost.
To what?
To be honest, in business costs you money.
Yeah, but you can't say Lashon Hara is not an issue.
I'm saying, but we work on Lashon Hara. Lashon Hara is the one cause which is like, universally okay.
Heritage Foundation.
Yeah. So,
It's still a problem.
of course it's a problem. Because I'll say everybody's Avak Lashon Hara, right? Everybody tells Lashon Hara because humans have this difficulty with not talking about their other fellow humans. But that's not a cause which is, that's a cause which is okay to actually hammer home. Dishonesty in business, racism, text messaging and cell phone use.
That's not some kind.
Yeah, Chashavi brought up, not me.
No, that's what
The failure of the educational system.
How's the education system?
How's it failing?
Yeah.
It's not providing
What?
the kids who need alternatives with alternatives. It presses everybody to one mold, which is not appropriate actually for probably most of them.
It's a Talmud mold.
The Talmud mode, yes.
When is it appropriate to be in that mold?
When you are brilliant.
If you're not.
If you're highly above average, in the bell curve also.
No, not really. I mean, according to the Rambam, we talked that day, the other day. Even kids and women can study that.
Can or should?
Yeah, but that's not. But the Rambam, that Talmud is only a stepping stone. We're talking about in our culture where we believe Talmud is the be-all and end-all.
So that's the question. Whether
We don't have Maimonidean schools. Okay, if we have Maimonidean schools, they're also very different than the schools we have.
So I wouldn't really ask that question.
You, Shabi, wouldn't have to hide the fact you're not learning Gemara in a Maimonidean school. You would be proud of not learning Gemara, right?
No, I think Gemara is a magnificent thing, but it's not the highest form of
Okay,
Tantra.
so that's not obviously the way Klal Yisrael has gone.
It's the highest form of Tantra in metaphysics.
Klal Yisrael has not gone in that direction. So
how did they agree it's not true? Just because
no, it's a derech which right now is not popular. Maybe someday you're going to be the revolutionary who brings the Rambam's derech into widespread application.
Around there,
Keep working.
Essentially, it goes with the Kabbalist stuff, because also the Kabbalists,
I know.
they believe that...
Right, Kabbalists lost out too.
What? No, you do have Kabbalist yeshivas in Yerushalayim.
Yes, but they're not real. They're small, and they're for people who are somewhat, different, things like that. Yeah. We don't have Ramchal Judaism today.
So, alright, so just because it's not the path, but you see the path it doesn't function well, so probably we have to change.
I agree, but nobody's changing it. Yeah.
One worry I've had between observant is finding education for my children, because I do think that too much Talmud is not good for everybody. I want my kids to learn, math, science, psychohistory. I want them to read some Shakespeare. But I also want them to be in a highly spiritual community. Like, they come here and everybody is very community growth and really believes in Prophet Hashem. You're smiling now.
Yeah.
I want a highly spiritualized community that modern orthodoxy too frequently lacks. But I want the studies beyond Talmud that the yeshiva lacks. What do I do? Do I start a new school or do I adopt?
Yeah, can you give me a job?
There's like a lot of talking in schools.
I would actually love to start as like an Orthodox yeshiva.
Can you turn this off a second, please?
This is important.
Yes.